talk to you today about something that's going to fundamentally change the way you approach your reality. And I'm not talking about positive thinking. I'm not talking about affirmations that you repeat while you're secretly doubting every word. I'm talking about a biological, neurological, quantum transformation that happens when you understand how to use your mind and body together to create a new future. See, here's what most people don't understand. You are not hardwired to be a certain way. Your personality is not set in stone. Your past does not equal your future unless you're living in the past every single day. And the beautiful thing about this moment, right here, right now, is that you have the power to interrupt those patterns, those programs, those automatic thoughts and feelings that have been keeping you stuck in the same reality year after year. So what I want to share with you is a 20-minute daily ritual. 20 minutes. That's all it takes. But these aren't just any 20 minutes. This is 20 minutes where you're going to become pure consciousness. You're going to step into the quantum field. You're going to become so present, so elevated, so connected to a new future that your body starts believing it's living in that reality right now. And when your body believes it's living in that reality right now, you're signaling new genes, you're creating new neural pathways, and you're drawing that future to you like a magnet. Let me explain how this works from a scientific perspective, because I want you to understand that this isn't mysticism. This is neuroscience. This is quantum physics. This is epigenetics. When you think the same thoughts, you fire and wire the same neural circuits in your brain. When you feel the same emotions, you condition your body to become the mind of that emotion. And when you do that every single day, you become hardwired to a very specific, predictable future. You become addicted to the life you already know. But here's where it gets exciting. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in your outer environment and what you're imagining in your inner environment. When you close your eyes and you begin to mentally rehearse a new future with such clarity, such intensity, such presence that your brain thinks it's actually happening, you begin to install the neurological hardware to support that future. You're literally building new circuits before the experience happens. Think about this for a moment. Every time you learn something new, you make a new synaptic connection in your brain. The moment you begin to think about what you learned, you're firing that circuit. And as you continue to fire that circuit over and over again, those nerve cells develop a stronger, longer-lasting relationship. You're literally wiring that information into your brain. Now, when you can add an elevated emotion to it, when you can feel gratitude before the experience happens, when you can feel the joy of the future reality in the present moment, you're not just wiring your brain, you're conditioning your body to emotionally believe that the future has already happened. And this is where the magic happens. This is where the quantum field responds. Because you see, the quantum field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you're being. It responds to your state of being. And your state of being is a combination of your thoughts and your feelings, your mind and your body working together. When you're living in survival, when you're living in stress, when you're waking up every morning thinking about your problems, focusing on everything that's wrong, anticipating the worst case scenario, you're selecting a very specific future, and it's probably a future you don't want. But when you can sit down for 20 minutes and do something different, when you can move from a state of survival to a state of creation, everything changes. So let me walk you through this ritual step by step, because I want you to have the exact formula that thousands of people around the world are using to transform their health, their relationships, their finances, their careers, their entire lives. The first part of this 20-minute ritual is about getting present. And I mean truly present. Not thinking about the past, not worrying about the future, but being right here, right now, in this eternal present moment where all possibilities exist. You cannot create a new future if you're thinking about the past. You cannot heal your body if you're living in stress. You cannot attract abundance if you're feeling lack. So the first step is to sit down, close your eyes, and bring all of your attention to the present moment. Now, when I say bring your attention to the present moment, I mean become aware of your body in space. Where is your body? What does it feel like? Can you sense the space that your body occupies? Can you feel the space around your body? This is not intellectual, this is experiential. You're training your brain to pay attention to the present moment instead of constantly running those same old programs from the past. And here's what happens neurologically. When you're thinking about your problems, when you're obsessing about your conditions, when you're focusing on everything in your external environment that you need to change, three very specific networks in your brain are highly active. The first is your thinking brain, your neocortex, analyzing, strategizing, trying to predict, trying to control. The second is your stress center, your amygdala, putting your body into fight or flight, making you feel anxious, worried, afraid. And the third is your attention on your body and your environment. When these three networks are active, you cannot access the subconscious mind. You cannot get beyond the analytical mind. You cannot create from the quantum field. But when you sit down and you start to become present, when you start to sense your body in space, when you close your eyes and you disconnect from your environment, those three networks begin to quiet down. And as they quiet down, your brain waves slow down. You move from beta brain waves, which is that analytical, thinking, stressed out state, to alpha brain waves, which is a relaxed, creative state, and eventually into theta brain waves, which is where the subconscious mind becomes highly suggestible. This is the state where you can reprogram your mind. This is the state where you can install new beliefs. This is the state where you can create new realities. So the first 5 minutes of this ritual is simply about getting present, becoming no body, no one, no thing, in no time, in no place. Your pure consciousness, your infinite possibility. And I know what some of you are thinking right now. You're thinking, I can't meditate. My mind is too busy. I have too many thoughts. Let me tell you something. That's exactly why you need to do this. Those thoughts are the program. Those thoughts are what's creating the same life over and over again. And the moment you become aware that you're having those thoughts, the moment you catch yourself thinking about your problems and you bring your attention back to the present moment, you're executing a level of greatness. You're breaking the habit of being yourself. See, most people wake up in the morning and they immediately start thinking about their problems. They think about what they have to do today. They think about all the people they have to see, all the places they have to go. And as they think about all those things, they start to feel the emotions of their predictable life. They feel overwhelmed, they feel stressed, they feel anxious. And the moment they feel that emotion, now they're thinking in the past because those emotions are records of the past. So they're literally using a familiar feeling to select a familiar thought. And they're using a familiar thought to create the same familiar feeling, and that loop, that cycle of thinking and feeling and thinking is called a state of being. And your state of being is what's creating your reality. So if you wake up every morning and you immediately fall into that same state of being, you are going to create the same life. But what if you woke up and instead of immediately thinking about your problems, instead of immediately checking your phone, instead of immediately going into that survival state, you sat down for 20 minutes and you did something completely different? What if you created from a different state of being? So after you've spent 5 minutes getting present, the next phase of this ritual is about opening your heart. And this is crucial. This is where most people get it wrong. They think manifestation is about forcing things to happen, about hustling, about willpower. But true creation, true manifestation happens from an elevated emotional state. It happens when your heart is open, when you feel gratitude, when you feel love, when you feel joy for no reason. And here's why this matters from a scientific standpoint. Your heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field in your body. It's 60 times greater electrically and up to 5,000 times greater magnetically than the field produced by your brain. When you're living in stress, when you're living in survival, that field becomes incoherent. It's chaotic. It's contracted. But when you open your heart, when you cultivate elevated emotions like gratitude, love, and joy, that field becomes coherent, it becomes organized, it expands. And when your heart's electromagnetic field becomes coherent and expands, you're literally broadcasting a new signal into the field. You're changing your energy. And remember, everything is energy. Your thoughts are energy, your emotions are energy, your body is energy, the chair you're sitting on is energy, the room you're in is energy. It's all vibrating at different frequencies. And when you change your energy, you change what you're attracting into your life. So for the next 5 minutes of this ritual, I want you to cultivate gratitude. Not for anything specific at first, just pure gratitude. Feel thankful that you're alive. Feel grateful for this moment. Feel appreciation for the fact that you have the power to create. And as you start to feel that emotion in your body, as you start to generate that elevated state, you're doing something extraordinary. You're teaching your body emotionally what the future feels like before it happens. Your body is the unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between an experience in your life that creates an emotion and an emotion that you're creating by thought alone. So if you can feel grateful right now for something that hasn't happened yet, if you can feel the joy of your future reality in this present moment, your body starts to believe it's living in that future now. And when your body believes it's in that future, you're signaling new genes. You're literally changing your biology to match your vision. Think about the implications of this. You don't have to wait for something outside of you to change for you to feel differently. You can feel differently right now, and when you feel differently right now, you change your energy, and when you change your energy, you change your life. This is the formula. This is the science. This is how it works. And I've seen this thousands of times. I've seen people heal their bodies by changing their energy. I've seen people create financial abundance by changing their energy. I've seen people attract their soul mate by changing their energy. Because when you change your energy, you change what you attract. That's not mysticism, that's physics. So you're sitting there, you've gotten present, you've opened your heart, you're feeling gratitude, and now we move into the third phase of this ritual, which is about creating your future. And this is where you get to be the artist. This is where you get to paint the picture of the life you want to live. But you're not doing this from your thinking brain. You're not analyzing. You're not figuring out how it's going to happen. You're creating from a state of elevated emotion. So what I want you to do is think about something you want to create in your life. Maybe it's perfect health. Maybe it's financial freedom. Maybe it's a loving relationship. Maybe it's a new career. Maybe it's inner peace. Whatever it is, I want you to get clear about what you want. But here's the key. I don't want you to think about what you want. I want you to feel what it would be like to already have it. Close your eyes and step into that future reality. Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? What does it feel like in your body to be living this reality? And I want you to feel it so deeply, so completely that your body starts to respond as if it's happening right now. If you're creating health, feel what it's like to wake up with energy, with vitality, with strength. If you're creating abundance, feel what it's like to have financial freedom, to not worry about money, to be generous, to live in prosperity. If you're creating love, feel what it's like to be cherished, to be seen, to be valued, to share your life with someone who adores you. And as you're feeling these emotions, you're doing something incredible. You're giving your body a taste of the future. You're conditioning your body to move into a new state of being. Because remember, your body is your unconscious mind. It's been conditioned to be the mind of your past. It's been conditioned to be the mind of fear, of doubt, of worry, of lack. But now you're teaching it something new. You're teaching it to be the mind of your future. You're teaching it to be the mind of abundance, of health, of love, of joy. And this is not visualization for the sake of visualization. This is about changing your state of being. Because when you change your state of being, you change your electromagnetic signature. And when you change your electromagnetic signature, you start to attract different people, different opportunities, different circumstances into your life. You become a magnet for your future. Now here's where most people sabotage themselves. They do this practice for a few minutes, they feel amazing, and then they open their eyes and they immediately go back to being their old self. They immediately start thinking the same old thoughts, feeling the same old feelings, doing the same old things. And when they do that, they're breaking the energetic connection to their future. They're going back to their past. So the fourth phase of this ritual, which happens in the last 5 minutes, is about memorizing this new state of being. It's about becoming it so completely that it becomes your new baseline, your new normal. And this requires intention. This requires consciousness. This requires you to make a decision that when you open your eyes, you're not going to go back to being who you were. You're going to be this new person. You're going to think from this new mind. You're going to feel from this new heart. So before you open your eyes, I want you to make a commitment to yourself. I want you to say, today, I'm going to love my new future so much that I won't go back to my old past. Today, I'm going to be defined by a vision of my future instead of a memory of my past. Today, I'm going to stay in this elevated state no matter what happens in my external environment. And this is the practice, this is the discipline. Because your external environment is going to try to pull you back. Your body is going to try to pull you back. It's going to say, this doesn't feel familiar, this doesn't feel comfortable. I want to go back to what I know. And that's when you have to be stronger than your environment. That's when you have to be greater than your body. That's when you have to remember who you really are and where you're going. So you've done your 20 minutes. You've gotten present. You've opened your heart. You've created your future. You've memorized that new state of being. And now you stand up and you walk into your day as this new person. And here's what I want you to understand. This is not about being perfect. You're going to have moments where you slip back into the old self. You're going to have moments where you react instead of respond. You're going to have moments where you feel those familiar emotions of doubt or fear or lack. But the moment you catch yourself, the moment you become aware that you've gone back to the old self, that's your cue. That's your reminder. That's your opportunity to stop, to take a breath, and to choose again. to reconnect with that vision, to reconnect with that feeling, to reconnect with that new state of being. And every time you do that, every time you course correct, you're strengthening the new circuitry, you're weakening the old program, you're literally rewiring your brain in real time. Now, let me tell you what happens when you do this ritual every single day for 20 minutes. When you make this a non-negotiable part of your life. When you do this before you check your phone, before you drink your coffee, before you do anything else, what happens is you start to build momentum. The first few days might feel awkward. The first few days your mind might wander constantly. The first few days you might not feel much of anything. And that's okay. That's normal. You're interrupting a program that's been running for years, maybe decades. You're breaking an addiction to your old self. But if you keep going, if you stay committed, something miraculous starts to happen. The practice gets easier. You're able to get present faster. You're able to open your heart deeper. You're able to step into your future more completely. And then you start to notice things in your external world changing. Synchronicities start to happen. Opportunities start to appear. People start to show up. Doors start to open. And these aren't coincidences. This is the universe, the quantum field, responding to your new energy. Because here's the truth. You are not separate from the field. You are part of it. You are intimately connected to everything and everyone. And when you change your energy, the field has to respond. It has to reorganize itself around your new electromagnetic signature. This is how you attract what you want, not by chasing it, not by forcing it, but by becoming a vibrational match to it. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to attract financial abundance. Most people approach this from lack. They look at their bank account and they feel stress. They look at their bills and they feel fear. They think about money constantly from a place of not having enough. And what are they doing? They're broadcasting the frequency of lack into the field, and the field responds by giving them more experiences of lack. But what if you did something different? What if every morning for 20 minutes you sat down and you felt what it's like to be financially free? Not from your thinking brain, not from, I hope this works, but from a genuine, embodied feeling of abundance. You feel grateful for the money that flows to you easily and effortlessly. You feel the freedom of not worrying about finances. You feel the joy of being generous. You feel the peace of having more than enough. And you do this so completely, so authentically that your body doesn't know the difference between having that money in your bank account right now and the feeling you're generating in your meditation. Your body just knows you feel abundant. And when your body feels abundant, it stops producing the stress hormones associated with lack. It starts producing different chemistry. It starts signaling different genes. Your entire biology shifts to match the energy of abundance. And then you stand up from that meditation and you go about your day, but you're different. You're no longer operating from lack. You're operating from abundance. And from that state, you make different choices. You see opportunities you would have missed before. You have conversations you wouldn't have had before. You take actions that are aligned with your vision instead of actions that are driven by fear. And this is how it works for anything you want to create. Health, relationships, career success, inner peace, whatever it is, the process is the same. You get present, you open your heart, you step into the feeling of your future, you memorize that state, and you live from it. Day after day after day, 20 minutes every morning. That's the ritual. That's the formula. That's the science of change. Now, I want to address something that comes up for a lot of people. They say, but Joe, I've tried this before. I've done visualization, I've done affirmations, I've done positive thinking, and nothing changed. And here's what I want you to understand. If nothing changed, it's because you didn't actually change. You might have thought about changing, you might have wanted to change, but you didn't change your state of being. See, thinking about abundance while you're feeling lack doesn't work. Visualizing health while you're identifying with disease doesn't work. Affirming love while you're feeling unworthy doesn't work. Because it's not about what you think. It's about what you feel. It's about your energy. It's about the signal you're broadcasting from every cell of your body. So when you do this 20-minute ritual, I need you to bring everything you've got to it. I need you to be all in. I need you to feel it so completely that there's no room for doubt. And if doubt shows up, that's okay. Don't judge it. Don't fight it. Just recognize it as the old program trying to maintain itself and gently bring your attention back to your vision, back to your elevated emotion, back to your new state of being. And I want you to understand something else that's really important. This is not about denying your current reality. This is not about pretending everything is perfect when it's not. This is about creating a new reality from a place of possibility instead of reacting to your current reality from a place of limitation. There's a huge difference. When you're reacting to your current reality, when you're letting your environment control how you think and feel, you're a victim. you're powerless, you're at the effect of your circumstances. But when you create from possibility, when you generate an elevated emotion independent of your environment, you're a creator. You're powerful. You're the author of your life. So you acknowledge where you are. You look at your current circumstances honestly, but you don't emotionally invest in them. You don't give them all your energy. Instead, you invest your energy in where you're going. You invest your energy in your vision. You invest your energy in becoming the person who's already living that reality. And this is where it gets really exciting from a quantum physics perspective. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist simultaneously. The future where you're healthy exists. The future where you're abundant exists. The future where you're in a loving relationship exists. They all exist right now as potential realities. And the way you collapse one of those potentials into your reality is through observation, through attention, through emotion. When you focus your attention on a specific potential future and you add elevated emotion to it, you're causing that possibility to collapse into your reality. You're literally pulling it from the field of infinite possibilities into your three-dimensional life. This is not metaphysics. This is quantum mechanics. This is how the universe works at the subatomic level. So when you sit down for your 20-minute ritual, you're not just daydreaming. You're not just wishful thinking. You're engaging in a quantum creative process. You're becoming a vortex, a magnet, drawing your future to you through the power of your focused attention and elevated emotion. And the more you do this, the stronger that magnetic pull becomes. The first time you do it, you might create a small shift. The 10th time, a bigger shift. The 100th time, your life is unrecognizable because you've literally become a different person. You've rewired your brain, you've reconditioned your body, you've changed your energy, and your reality has no choice but to reflect that change. Now, let me talk about what happens in your body during this process because I want you to understand the biological transformation that's taking place. When you're living in stress, your body is producing cortisol and adrenaline. These stress hormones are designed for short-term survival. They're meant to help you fight or run from a threat. But most people are living in stress chronically. They're producing these chemicals every single day, not because they're being chased by a predator, but because they're thinking about their problems. And when you're in that chemical state, your body is in breakdown. Your immune system is suppressed, your cellular repair is inhibited, your digestive system doesn't work properly, your reproductive system shuts down, all of your body's energy goes towards surviving the perceived threat. There's no energy left for creating, for healing, for thriving. But when you sit down and you do this 20-minute ritual, when you get present and you open your heart and you generate elevated emotions like gratitude and love and joy, your body shifts from a state of stress to a state of coherence. Your stress hormones drop. Your healing hormones increase. You start producing oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, all the chemicals associated with well-being, with health, with vitality. And in that state, your body can heal. It can regenerate. It can create. Because now your energy isn't going toward surviving, it's going toward thriving. You've literally changed your internal chemistry through the power of your thoughts and emotions. And when you change your internal chemistry, you change which genes are being expressed. And when you change which genes are being expressed, you change your biology. This is epigenetics. This is the science that shows us that we are not victims of our genes. We are not hardwired to be a certain way because of our DNA. Yes, you have genes, but which genes get turned on and which genes get turned off is determined by your environment. And the most powerful part of your environment is your internal environment, your thoughts and feelings. So when you do this ritual every day, when you consistently generate elevated emotions, you're literally signaling new genes. You're telling your body to make different proteins, to create different neural connections, to upgrade its operating system. You're giving your body the instructions to become the embodiment of your future. And here's something else that's fascinating. When you're in a state of elevated emotion, your brain produces what's called coherent alpha brainwaves. These are slow, organized brainwave patterns that allow different compartments of your brain to synchronize and work together. When your brain is in coherence, you have access to your subconscious mind. You can implant new beliefs. You can override old programming. You can literally rewrite your story. Most people's brains are in incoherent beta brainwaves all day long. They're thinking about a million different things, worrying about the past, anxious about the future, and their brain activity is chaotic, fragmented, compartmentalized. Different parts of the brain aren't communicating effectively, and in that state, you cannot create. You cannot access your full potential. You're running on autopilot, executing the same programs over and over again. But 20 minutes of this ritual changes all of that. It brings your brain into coherence. It synchronizes your heart and your brain. It creates a harmonic resonance throughout your entire body. And from that state, anything is possible. Healing is possible. Transformation is possible. Manifestation is possible. I've seen people reverse chronic illness through this practice. I've seen people create businesses that generate millions of dollars. I've seen people attract their ideal partner after years of being alone. I've seen people go from depression and anxiety to profound peace and joy. And it all starts with 20 minutes. 20 minutes of choosing to be different. 20 minutes of investing in your future instead of dwelling in your past. So let me ask you, can you commit to 20 minutes? Can you make this more important than checking your social media, than watching the news, than scrolling through your phone? Can you prioritize this practice above everything else? Because I'm telling you, this is the most important thing you can do for yourself. This is how you take control of your life. This is how you stop being a victim and become a creator. And when you do this, when you really commit to it, you're going to notice something beautiful starting to happen. You're going to start to fall in love with this version of yourself. You're going to start to feel so good in your meditation, in that elevated state, that you won't want to go back to your old self. The old emotions of fear and doubt and worry won't feel comfortable anymore. They'll feel like a betrayal of your vision, a betrayal of your future. And that's when the real transformation happens. That's when you've broken the addiction to your past. That's when you've truly become someone new. Because now you're not doing this practice from a place of, I have to, or I should. You're doing it from a place of, I get to, and I want to. You're doing it because it feels better to be this person than to be who you were. And from that place, the practice becomes effortless. It becomes something you look forward to. It becomes your sanctuary, your refuge, your creative studio where you get to design your life. And the more you do it, the more evidence you see in your external world that it's working. And the more evidence you see, the more you believe, and the more you believe, the more you create. It becomes a beautiful upward spiral. Now, I want to give you some very specific guidance about how to structure these 20 minutes because precision matters. The first 5 minutes, you're getting present.